Austin, heel. Heel. What are you doing going to the right side, buddy? Good heel. Good job. Okay. Heel. Good morning, everyone. This is Sally with Disabled Advantage. I am walking with Austin's help today and a knee brace on. Yesterday was a day. I am my pain's really high today. I'm about a 9 out of 10 for me. And I'm actually in quite significant full body pain everywhere. It's not good. By normal people standards, I'm probably like so far past a 10 I can't even see that number anymore. But as far as my own personal scale goes, I'm not at a 10. So, one, why and how am I walking? And two, what did this? Great questions. So, I am walking right now for several reasons, but the primary reason is that I have to. The way my CRPS interacts with my Trisomy X Syndrome means that for me, not moving gets pretty bad pretty quick. I can get increased swelling, and that messes up things. And also, I lose muscle mass, leave it very quickly. And I have to keep walking to maintain the current level of flexibility, stamina, strength. And muscle mass. And it's not so much a dramatic thing. Like, a lot of people after they have surgery and they can't use an arm or a leg for a few weeks, you can tell that one arm is normal, healthy muscle tone and the other is drastically different. It's not quite on a drastic level like that, where you can physically see it. But like when you go to touch my muscles, you can tell that the muscle tone is just not there. And my stamina, my endurance, my tolerance, all of that goes down if I drop off exercising. The other thing and this is a personal choice. I want to be really clear that I stress that. That's a personal choice. But the other thing is that I like to maintain my pain tolerance. And I do that by continuing to go do stuff when I'm in high levels of pain. I don't go overboard, so like, we're probably not going to take a long walk, but we're taking a walk. And every time I do that, it reminds my brain that I am capable of functioning in this X amount of pain. And it helps me to be able to extend my days out, get up, do one more thing, move a little bit on the extremely hard days, and reminds me on the exceptionally terrible days where I'm stuck in bed and I'm just looking out the window and I'm wishing for something different. I can remember and remind myself that that exceptionally shitty day is gonna pass, and I will get back to this point. So on the days where I can, I try. And I don't know how far Austin and I are gonna get. Austin, side. I don't know how far Austin and I are gonna get, but we're out here. We're trying. It's beautiful outside. It's only about 70 degrees, which is rare for August in Missouri. And my body had a weird experience yesterday. So I'm also partly walking to remind my brain that I am stable, I am strong, and that everything is still in proper working order. I felt unsafe yesterday with my CRPS, and I felt my brain tried turning my legs off, which it hasn't done in a while, because my body was in a heightened level of distress. So my legs got extra exhausted, and my arms got extra exhausted. Yesterday afternoon, I could barely move from how much pain I was in. Could barely lift my arms. It hurt to lift a cup up and drink water. A small cup. Hurt to lift a small cup and drink water. And I was in so much pain and fatigue just from like an hour and a half long activity that I was having a really hard time forming sentences and talking. And I was just completely smashed. And I couldn't really use Austin because my hands and my arms and my shoulders were so wrecked that it hurt a lot to brace on him. And so I was a little more reliant on my husband to help me move around the house. Austin still helped, just not as much, and I tried to not need his help, so I stayed in my chair for like most of the afternoon. Yes, Austin is air sniffing while he's counterbalancing. That's okay when he's off duty. It's not okay when he's on duty. The only way he'll get a correction is if he starts to deviate from heel, or if he dunks his head way down to the ground, because that does impact my balance. So I've got my hand on the counterbalance strap right now. We're just very casually walking. We're walking a little slower than I normally do. That's from the pain. Left knee popped up with some extra weird pain last night, so I just threw a brace on it just in case. Give it a little extra stability. So, what in the world did that to me? What was so bad that I did for about an hour, hour and a half? What was so bad that it caused flares in my thumbs, my hands, my fingers, my wrists, my collarbones, my shoulder joints, my neck, my back, and my legs, and made it hard to walk, and my rib cage, and made it hard to use my arms and stand up straight, and made it hard to brace on my dog. Okay. I am exceptionally dedicated to my clients. And I love learning. And I love problem solving. And one of the things I really enjoy about dog training is being creative with solutions. And Disabled Advantage was doing a little better this year than previous years. So I had the funds to purchase a walker, or a rollator walker. One of my clients currently uses a walker on and off for mobility, and they had kept having some questions about leash skills, and I have never used this type of mobility aid. And I know, it's weird. A disability trainer, not very well versed in mobility aids. But, so the reason is that the mobility aid that is the best for my body and my combination of conditions is the one you guys are looking at right now. Austin is versatile. He fits with a bunch of different situations. And for the most part, he doesn't hurt to use. I feel safer right now holding on to this lightweight counterbalance strap than I did yesterday pushing a walker around our own yard. So that's right. I bought a walker for Disabled Advantage for teaching leash skills to people who use walkers. And it's not something I can do with all of the tools. There are some tools that I definitely cannot use. Someone donated a wheelchair to me, me personally, and so we do use that, like last year when I tore my knee. We do use that for myself, but it's not ideal. It does some weird stuff to me. It causes full body flares. It makes it nearly impossible to walk for a week after I use it. It's not great. And I also cannot move it myself. So I also cannot use canes. My wrists are hypermobile enough that they will break over to the outside when I try and brace on my wrists. So I can't use canes. But we figured a walker was something that enough people were probably going to use a walker or something similar that it would be worthwhile to explore how it changes dog training, how it changes the leash skills, what exercises would be definitely nixed for somebody who uses a walker, and what special techniques we could develop around the walker to help people achieve the same goal, even if it looks different from what I normally teach. And yesterday was the first day of problem solving. So my husband helped me problem solved the walker, and I did most of the work of pushing the walker around the yard and holding the dog, but he was there to supervise in case something drastic happened or I fell over. And which I didn't. I did not fall down. And he was also there to be we're roughly the same height, so we were able to set it to roughly one height for the both of us. More correct for me, slightly short for him. And I told my client I was going to do this, and they actually gave me tips on how to walk with a walker, which was extremely helpful. And also to be there to, he's helped with the training of the first dog, and he helped a little bit with Austin, and he has a brilliant engineer mind, and so between the two of us, good boy, we were able to, I walked a little farther than I expected. We'll see how bad of a choice that was. So between the two of us, we were able to experiment with a bunch of different leashes and leash holds and specific exercises, specific maneuvers that I teach clients, how it would impact, how it would change. And we got a lot of really great answers. And I've already got several good solutions for my current client that I really hope are going to work. One of the differences I'm a little worried about is that Austin's slow. Slow. Heel. Because of where we live, we had to get an all-terrain walker to be able to test drive it and teach with it. And most people don't have those, so I don't know how much that will change the equation for people. But now that I've used it, I have a better understanding of the mechanics behind it, the mechanics of how your body moves with it, how that's going to impact and change the dog training. And that will help me advise clients better and more safely moving forward. So all in all, it was definitely extremely worth it. But it was extremely painful and so horrible for me. The walker we practiced it in our yard, and most of my clients are working in grass for a lot of their initial exercises. Slow. Austin's trying to walk faster to get home faster. He can tell I'm not doing great. And he also usually walks faster on the way back anyways. But when he's helping, it's even more so important that he pace match. So he got a correction for going too fast. Right, so holding the walker, I tried it for like 30 seconds on gravel just to see what it was like. And then I also mostly did it in the yard. And it caught in some pits in our yard and almost tipped over a few times. And my own balance is what kept me upright. Having to hold on to the handles is a shape and force my hands aren't usually asked to do. And so that was difficult for them. Knowing how my wrists usually respond to handles, I think I was actually holding it possibly incorrectly because my hands were already going into defensive mode to try and make it more stable for me so my wrists wouldn't give out. And like I was moving it around the yard and it just felt so incredibly shaky. It felt like I was holding on to a jackhammer on wheels, basically. And so something I learned when I was riding horses to occasionally close my eyes to really just feel what I'm doing. And it gives me a heightened sense of feeling whatever tool I'm using. When I do it sometimes with dog training, I can feel better what the dog is doing if I close my eyes rather than looking at the dog. I don't advise you do that unless you know your dog really well and you're someplace safe. But it's something that I do whenever I'm, stuck. I don't do it with new dogs. Be very clear on that. I do not do it with dogs I don't know or that are new to training. You. And sometimes too, I'll close my eyes with Austin just to feel. Like right now, my eyes are closed. And I'm just trusting him. I can feel him leaning into the harness and me pulling up on the handle when I wobble and occasionally bouncing off of him. And I'm getting a little dizzy from closing my eyes, but I feel safe. Even though my eyes are closed, I feel safe. I know he's got me. And my eyes are open, and sure enough, everything's fine. I tried closing my eyes with the walker yesterday, and I felt so incredibly unsafe because of how much it was wobbling and bucking and trying to pull me down the slight grade of slope in our yard or trying to tip over outright. I felt so unsafe. And I joked to my husband that I feel safer with a dog helping me than I do a walker. And that's just my personal preference. That's my personal experience. That's not trying to force that on anyone else. But we've known for a while that traditional mobility aids are not a good option for me. That's why we went with a service dog. That's why we've stuck with a service dog. But it's always interesting when I have a situation where I do try using one for a short burst of time, how violently my body reacts to using it. I don't regret it at all. I know it probably sounds weird, but I'm glad we got it. I'm glad I had the experience. I feel like I understand a little bit better. You don't see a lot of dog trainers working with people who have disabilities, and the ones who do are relying so heavily on treats and just hoping that they can circumvent that whole pesky correction deal, because when you're holding onto a cane or a walker, it does make corrections a lot harder to do with your dog. And I know trainers I've worked with in the past do not like hearing, I can't do that. I've worked with a trainer once who said, find a way. And as a dog trainer, especially who works with people with CRPS and other disabilities, mainly CRPS and mobility, I want to be the trainer that's to the best of my ability. I can say, I will help you find a way. And I don't have all the answers. The walker is definitely a problem and a challenge that is going to have to be customized to every single client, what they need. But that's true of every client that I work with, so I'm not worried by it. It would be easier to train without corrections, sort of. When you train purely with treats, you get a lot of cracked out, hyper energetic dogs who don't pause to think about what they're doing. I don't love that for people with pain disorders. Speaking as someone who started with dogs who were cracked out, treat trained idiots that I had to untrain and teach how to be gentle with me. They were fantastic dogs, and the training that they received was good in that it primed both of them for learning, and it gave me really good, useful information about them. But that style of training that the dogs were used to was not safe for me as someone with CRPS. Just verify and fix that a little bit better. So I'm starting to wobble more. You'll see me go off camera a little bit, and Austin just keeps moving forward. It's part of the counterbalance, or it's the purpose of the counterbalance. I knew this walk was going to be like that, so that's why I've held on to him the entire walk. I'm also starting to lose awareness of where my legs are. So that's fine. So I have little tricks for remembering where my legs are, and he'll get us home safe. But it was definitely an interesting experience. I'm going to try and limit using it to just teaching active clients because it was so bad for me. And it's probably going to take me a little bit to recover, but again, it was worth it. I don't mind getting a flare if it means that I can help my client understand something better and achieve what they're trying to achieve with their dog. I have full body CRPS, and I signed myself up to start a dog training business helping other people with CRPS learn how to train their own dogs. Working with clients causes flares. That is the simple fact and truth. And I am okay with it. I have a gift for training. I love training. And I've learned over the years that I also have a pretty good gift for teaching other people and finding ways to help them understand home and help them have a better quality of life. And so even if that gives me a flare for a day or two, I'm okay with that. I don't mind. I go above and beyond for my clients. When you work with Disabled Advantage, you're not just getting a dog trainer. And I have the benefit of, I've got my CRPS figured out. I know the tricks, I know the hacks, I know how to help myself. I know how to take care of myself. I've got a working service dog. I can take a little bit more latitude with what I ask of my CRPS. That'll change whenever I'm training the next dog in a few years and I have either a gap between dogs, or even if I'm actively training the next dog and Austin's still working, I'll be extra worn down and I won't be able to take these extra little flare hits like trying out a walker to figure out leash skills. But this week I could. So I did. And I just walked 1.2 miles. I'm even more exhausted. But my pain actually went down a little bit. And You know, I'm proud of myself. Austin helped, which is fantastic. That's his purpose. Stop. Good boy. And now we're going to go rest and then do a little bit of work on my website for my clients. Thank you for watching. If you have any more questions about why I don't use other mobility aids, please leave a comment.